All right, let's go to the registered. It's just two people, Michael Randolph and then Joe Corcoran. Michael Randolph, if you're there, please unmute yourself. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, my name is Michael Randolph, and I'm with the West Tampa CDC. First off, I'm going to start off by taking my head up to the lady that spoke earlier about civil rights. Her and I said two qualities. First, we believe in civil rights, and second, without our age. I'm 67 and I claim it 37, but I have a heart of a child, because I always believe in the possibility. I believe that economics leads to civil rights. That being said, here's what I'm going to talk about today, which is economic development. Reducing gentrification on purpose. We talked earlier about our most recent program, home-based commerce initiative powered by artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. I can tell you from artificial intelligence and GPT, it's taking my business to the next level. So this particular program is going to focus on a particular who are left out of the narrative. What we plan to do is to monetize that talent. Including who can't afford to eat below the moderate income, people with criminal records, single female head of household or man head of households, those struggling to pay their rent, as well as the homeless. The fact is that less than 3% of African Americans own their own business. It's also true in West Tampa that 35 to 25% of people are unemployed. This program planned to merge the together. Our program consists of those with development and business, professional business plans, assist them in starting their business, and more importantly, connect them capital necessary to start their business. Not just much to start a home-based business. The website we're going to put up is going to connect potential businesses with potential customers related to increasing narrative. There's little to no money that needs to get started a home-based business. The other thing we're doing is we're providing professional grant writing, especially to those nonprofits in West Tampa that are struggling to make it. We plan to provide professional, professional training so you can take it to the next level. I'm happy today because of the fact that people see people in terms of what they are and not in terms of what you might think. Thank you for giving me the opportunity today. And today it's my little cow heart saying that anything is possible, even though it seems like. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, our last registered speaker online is Joe Corcoran. If you're online, please unmute yourself, then we'll go to the folks in the audience here.
Yes, sir, I'm online. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please state your name. Go ahead.
My name is Jill Corcoran. I live at 2913 West Santiago Street, which straddles the property 2915 West Santiago Street that is my daughter's, Alexandria Quintero. And we have the shared tree in our front yard that the Ritz-Carlton is desperate to pave over, and there are a number of reasons that I can speculate on. But based on the report that I'm reading, they're wishing to have a sidewalk that tilts towards the tree. They also have stated that they want to put it on grade so that it matches the top of the curb. Either one of these will damage the structural roots. It's not a question of whether or not it will. Each of the arborists that you spoke of earlier today have stated that this is a better solution, but when asked, each one of them, when asked, will this have an adverse effect on the tree, refused flat out to answer me. I'm sure they would answer you because they would be forced to, but they refuse to answer me because they don't want to say, of course it's going to have an adverse effect. It's going to damage the structural roots. The only way not to damage the structural roots is to eliminate the sidewalk or to change the sidewalk to be a boardwalk that is wood that goes around it and won't destroy the structural roots to this 450 to 500-year-old ancient oak tree. They have already raped 22 acres of our land of all of the trees, including a dozen grand oaks. To replace it with a huge cement and steel tower and glass They replaced all of that housing that was affordable and could have been lived in by anyone in the city with things that run from $2 million with a $33,000 monthly maintenance fee and up to $12 million. These are not people who are going to be walking up and down Santiago Street. And if they were, they could walk down the other side because, as I pointed out the last time, they're only adding 2 additional units to the 200 units that once resided on the 22 acres that they have torn every tree out of. Now they're going to have 202 residences. And these are residences for people who do not go for walks every night. These are the uber wealthy people who will not be using these sidewalks like we use them every day. They want to remove this tree, in my opinion, because my tree stops the view from the 12 townhouses they have put up in the back, where they were allowed to tear down more than 24 more trees. And I am blocking their view with that ancient oak tree. I would ask that the city council insist that they either put in a wood boardwalk so it doesn't destroy the tree, or eliminate the sidewalk altogether, because that street has never had a sidewalk. There's no neighborhood at the end of our street. And the only other thing that they would do if they put that sidewalk on Santiago is then want to put a sidewalk along Isabella, where we have 4 oak trees that are not protected because they're 2 or 3 inches shy of being grand oaks. They cut down every single one of their oaks along the street because they don't care about our neighborhoods at all.
Thank you very
I
much.
would ask. Thank you.
All right. Yes, ma'am. I see you are first for public comment. If you'd like to come up, please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
And I would like to spend the most of my time, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And I would like to dedicate my time to the great ladies and gentlemen of Raymond James Stadium. They are so organized. And they would, it's be about 500 people there. They get everybody their jobs, their job description. It is just wonderful. Century, Supreme, Black Tie, all the people that are there. And they make sure we all have jobs that we can do. They like to put us older people in the sun, but I got a chance to go into the East Lobby, the West Lobby, the suites. I'm getting to know it. And I would just like to thank them for their good job. And now I will be looking for Mr. Steinbrenner so I can contact him. And I just thank Beyonce the night of her concert. It was bouncing off of St. Joseph Hospital walls. The curtain was open, and it was wonderful. And I got to meet most of the Generation X, the younger people, and it was just great. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Next speaker. Yeah, come.
Hi. Okay, my name is Allison Kahn. My address is 6220 South Jones Road. I just want to thank Councilman Carlson for meeting with the Interbay Little League and representing our district. I feel so fortunate to actually have been here this morning and heard Dr. Clayton speak. And something profound that she said is that people should feel they have the right to be here and belong. So that's why I'm here today, because that is not the feeling you get as a parent or participant when you go to the Interbay Little League fields. It feels neglected, discarded, and forgotten. The Interbay Little League at Gadsden Park is an integral part of our community, and its history is woven into Tampa Bay. Our league not only serves the children south of Gandy, but also the MacDill Air Force Base and the families that so graciously serve our country. It gives them a sense of belonging and the opportunity to get involved while they're based here. However, we have some major infrastructure issues that are preventing this diverse community from feeling like they have the right to be there, belong, and are respected. The lack of ADA accessibility at the fields is seen with the restrooms that still have a combined access for men and women, which is unsafe for various reasons. It does also not have an ADA restroom. There's gravel parking, which prevents people in wheelchairs and with disabilities from easily accessing and leaving their vehicles, and also sidewalks near the baseball concession stands. It does a disservice to our baseball community outreach division, the Challenger, which also provides kids with physical and intellectual abilities to play, as well as the disabled veterans who have children in the league. I myself have seen a guy that is like a full amputee in a wheelchair, and he had the hardest time just maneuvering around the field just to see his son play. It's just heartbreaking that he's given his life for our country and is suffering long-term effects, and we can't give him the honor he deserves and respect. Okay, so the infrastructure is also severely lacking just in safety of the buildings. They definitely need some updates made so that it can be safe for people to use, and for the concession stands and the garage that's located on site, in addition to the stormwater issues that are preventing obviously the fields to really flood and not to be used most of the time. As everyone's talked, there is a lot of overbuilding in the area, and while a lot of us homeowners are making accommodations to fix the drainage in the area, the parks need to be responsible for that as well. So I'm just here in hopes that you can, well, we do know, I guess from speaking with Mr. Carlson, that there are some projects in the queue, but I'm just here to communicate a sense of urgency that this needs to be addressed a little bit sooner, and in hopes that you guys can show the Ballast Point, Inner Bay, and South Gandy community, along with our disabled children and veterans, that they have the right to be here, they're valued, respected, and they belong in our community. Because that is not the feeling that you get when you go to that park. That's not the feeling you get when you play. It's just a forgotten part. So that's it.
Thank you
Okay,
very
thank
much.
you.
Next speaker, please. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good morning.
and I would like to thank you for the guest speakers and the presentations that were conducted this morning. It's inspiring. However, my name is Geraldine Rogers Toombs, and the reason I'm here is because I had the opportunity to attend the meeting last week regarding Fair Oaks Parks project. And the purpose of being here is because the leader, I guess, the lead project manager or whatever in the group, they just kind of talked or moved around for over an hour before they even began the meeting. And after they had the meeting, they refused to allow public comment. And that's the reason why I'm here, is because it was not open for public comment. And I don't think that those are the type of attitudes or behaviors that would be presented to other communities. And I found that to be very disrespectful, because we had questions that we wanted to ask. And the community, if it's a meeting, the community should have an opportunity to express their concerns. And that did not occur. And that's why I'm here, because I don't know how you all can correct that, but that needs to be done. And I'm a taxpayer. I received 3 millage letters this week, and so we deserve the same options that other communities receive. I would like to know, I asked after the meeting, he wanted us to have one-on-one conversations with the different developers that were present. However, we have a right to know what it is that you're doing and how it impacts us, and whether or not we're in agreement with what's being done. One of my concerns is that he said that approximately 2,000 square feet would be utilized for the atrium. My concern is that a good use of the space? If you think about it, a 2,000 square foot house is a pretty large space. So is that beneficial? Can the space be utilized in a more efficient way for the building? The other concern is that they were talking about all the trees that would be present, and I believe in the green space and the trees and all of that. But what I do object to is having trees over the seating and the benches there, because if you go to Fair Oaks Park, you'll see bird feces on the tables and the chairs and all of that, and children should not be exposed to that. An adult has this common sense not to do that. My third question is, I need time to express myself, because they didn't give us time to do that on that particular occasion. My third concern is, unfortunately, I can't remember right now, but I'm gonna make sure I send you all an email. No, it is not funny. It is a legitimate concern, because as taxpayers and part of the community, you have a right You have a right to respect us. And we were disrespected, and there were quite a few people out there, and nobody was allowed to ask the question, what kind of meeting is that? What kind of meeting is that? And this is just like Ms. Clayton was talking about. You know, things are better, but it needs to be better than what it is. You need to respect our community, and we need to be given an opportunity to come back and to discuss these issues with you, because there were other people that had their hands up and wanted to ask questions, but he said, no, we're not doing that today. Well, what is it? What's the problem? You all need to follow up and figure it out, because as a tax-paying citizen, I want to be able to be a part of the community, and I want my voice to be heard. And everybody has a right to have their voices heard. And I just thank you for your time and the good things that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Noel Johnson, and quite appropriate. I agree with the previous speaker, and the reason I am here this morning is to comment on the tax increase on the property. And I've heard so many things that's relevant, and there's so much time that really I would like to express, but I'm here, I like solutions. And just as the previous councilman said, the policeman's job, they're right on it. You guys, you come here, you know, you have to hear so much, and also you ask for it. You want it to be city council persons. I chose to buy property here in Hillsborough County, in the city of Tampa, a veteran, using veteran resources, moved into Belmont's Heights, an estate that has a low economic class, and possibly, as you all know, has some type of criminal element to it and things of sort. Now, with all that said, the reason why I'm here is because you're asking, I think it's item 92, look, Mr. Jones, item 92 and 93 on your agenda. And here it says you're asking for this increase is due to a change in the characteristics of the property, such as new development or the identification of new or not previously identified impervious area. And it was an empty lot. And listening to some of the council members talking about development and even attending some of the CRAs, understanding what Community Reinvestment Act is and community redevelopment areas. And in this area where I purchased my home, it is adjacent to an automotive shop that was built in 1940s. And when I came there, I'm hoping to live in an area that's free of environmental hazards. And I have pictures here, and I hope, the reason why I'm here is that someone that can guide me to someone that can assist me with improving this property. I don't mind paying the tax increase.
If I may,
Yeah,
I believe.
92 is a public hearing,
Yes,
correct?
Andrew Zellman, city attorney. He's addressing a topic that is scheduled for public hearing.
Okay.
And that would be the appropriate time to talk about this.
Okay,
with
well-
that agenda
Well,
item.
if
It
he's
said
here
at
now,
9:30 or and 10. That's why I'm here. My parking gonna give up at 11:38.
No, you can speak now, you're fine, but we're gonna have a public hearing at that time. But you can speak now, you're good, you're good.
Oh, okay. Well, may I finish, city attorney?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, but that's what I'm asking. I have pictures here, and what I'm asking for is who you all can direct me to, and in considering this, and when you're talking about development, and hopefully as we move forward, my home is already there. And I don't want to, it's not an adversarial thing. I'm not one of those individuals, because I'm sure in certain other communities, a home would not be built next to an automotive shop that spills waste over into my backyard. And the picture of, if you can't see here, is it has two, like concrete.
Put it on the overhead so we can see. it.
Where's
Right
that?
To your right, to your right.
Oh, right here?
Yeah. Put it down, lay it down and we'll see it.
Help me with it, somebody.
It'll activate it, the T and I will,
Oh, okay.
will turn it on.
Okay. And that's the biggest reason that brought me here.
Can we turn on the overhead?
Okay.
And And Mr. Chair, while we're doing that, I just wanted to make sure everyone understands that until those public hearings are open, the comments that are being made now won't become part of the record.
That's fine, but he's
With those
paid
public
for
hearings,
parking now
so-
and he's
Okay,
here
when
now,
can I
so-
come back?
People, well, I think we need to estimate when we'll get to those hearings.
Okay, here's the image.
Okay.
All right, and this is your property or the
This
property
is
next to
my
you?
property, and again, we're talking about developers, and as we move forward, if you're asking developers to come in, I understand it's a give and take with developers. And in developing this land, what happened, see all that water coming out that wall there? They have, one of them spoke to the renter, they have no underground drainage there. And potentially, if we're talking about increasing my taxes, that tree, and I asked the renter, he said that, the young man said the tree, that's the one they should have cut down to allow the water to drain back in that back alley there, to help with the storm drain runoff. So again, that's why I'm here. I'm asking, what can we do? Who do I need to speak to try to rectify this problem? That's why I'm
Who
here.
can this gentleman speak with here? I know Chief Bennett is usually here and will connect, but is there somebody here that can help this gentleman? If not, I can call my, yes, ma'am. We have the attorney here, sir. Can you
Okay,
assist him?
and I'll finish with that saying that I don't mind paying extra money, but I'm a veteran, I'm on limited income, and use resources to get this property, and I feel like it should have been done prior me moving in here. City code, EPA, everyone should have been involved on this, because, like, again, I don't believe a home would have been built in other communities in this city, let alone any of yours. I'm sure it wouldn't have been built in this city. And I don't mean that in an offensive manner, just in a manner to help when we think about redevelopment of Tampa, when we think about acknowledging our communities, and I'd just like you all to take that into consideration. That's the only reason I'm here. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. The attorney is right here and she'll be able to assist you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good morning. Keela McCaskill, and I'm here. I actually agree with the speaker prior regarding that Fair Oaks meeting. I received dozens of calls from some of the seniors that initiated the request. They fought for years for that park, and the manner of disrespect that they conveyed to me. I wasn't present, but they shared with me, and I'll share that next week, I guess, if it's CRA. But I'm here this morning to address the tax increase. I'm just gonna start out saying we cannot approach this like it's monopoly money. People work very hard. They
Are
pay
you
in
talking
these-
about the millage or are you
the
talking about
millage
the
increase,
stormwater?
yeah,
Okay,
that,
yes,
so I feel like before we really need to approach that, being very careful regarding those dollars. And based on the information that has been provided and what has not been provided, I think we don't have enough information yet to make that decision. But when you're talking about a tune of a $1 million property tax increase, we're entitled to an actual account of how the money will be spent, an actual account of how it's going to be spent. There were some discrepancies in terms of what has been provided and what has not. And before we make that decision, before you make that decision, I would hope that you treat it as such. You would make sure that they're accountable, it's transparent, and they give you everything they should before you make such a decision. Now, my main reason for being here is I also saw the $500,000 proposed for the building across the street. I don't spend much time in that building, but many of us are here day in, day out, week after week. We're here advocating for our communities, et cetera. So I would like to see the $500,000 improvement be used in this building, particularly because as a citizen, I come here like many of you. I come down here all the time advocating for the neighborhood, for improvement in the community. And I was blown away in disappointment when I recently found out that as we exit, I'm not even sure if you know this, but as we exit on the Kennedy side, going and coming, I found out that this side of the building doesn't have surveillance cameras in the immediate parking area. So any given day when we come in here, and as we exit, some of us are here after midnight, there's no camera. So God forbid I come to this building or I exit this building and I'm accused of a fake crime. Or worse, I'm assaulted. Did you know there's no camera that could record that incident? So there's no record of the fake crime or no record of the whatever the battery or anything that happens to you as you exit or enter this building. Not one camera can capture that information. The one traffic light that potentially could only retains the information for 30 days. But remember, it's a traffic camera. Spend that $500,000 to make sure we're safe. the people that come in this building advocating, they pay taxes. This building should be safe. Nobody should have to exit or enter this building and not be safe. And the other thing is, we need to know at all times who's in this building. At the political contentiousness we've seen, we're not here always on agreement with each other. So things will happen. Conversations will happen. As we see mental illness and homelessness arise, when we exit, it's a good possibility something could happen. I submit to you, we should be safe. Leave that building alone and make this one safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, please state your name, you have 3 minutes. And activate the overhead, you have something to show. Yes, ma'am. All right.
Hi, my name is Carol Ann Bennett. I'm here to give you some background information on item number 5. The related group assures us that they want to be good community partners and that they are conscientious developers and respect the neighborhoods they build in. I've been contacted by some of the neighbors of the Ritz-Carlton project on Bayshore, and this is what I found. I went out there the end of June and met with Jill Corcoran, and this was an example of the sort of thing that she says trash from this building flies into the bay on a regular basis, and I saw that myself when I was there. This is the building, and you can see how tall it is, and across the street from it is the townhouses where Jill lives, where this tree is, and you can see that there's a big difference between this, it's flying all the way across here. Some kind of liquid is splattering on everything. This is the cars that are on the other side of the townhouses that have liquid, something splattering all over them. Here's more of the car. It's also splattering on the building itself. You can see what they're dealing with here. This one right here, you can see the splatters, but what you might also be able to see is there's a roof over the doors back here, and a piece of plywood flew off that giant building next door, sheared the roof off, and then fell into the neighbor's yard. Somebody could have been killed. The neighbors have had a big problem with trash. There's, like I said, the building is supposed to be enclosed so that stuff can't fly off of it, and it was happening anyway, and so Related told the neighbors that they would pick up their trash every day. Well, Jill showed me, these are just 5 bags of the trash that Jill herself picked up that they didn't pick up. And this is the sort of thing that's, you know, showing me what's in the bags. And I was there at the end of the day on a Sunday, and they had already supposedly picked up everything. And just being there for a little while, I found, you know, this kind of trash around there. I know that Abby Feely has talked to them about it. I think she read them the Riot Act, so it might be better now. But, you know, this is the sort of thing the neighbors are dealing with all the time. Jill also referenced the trees on Isabella. Those are not on the Related's property. They don't belong to Related. Related is not supposed to park their vehicles on them, but they do. And if you look here, you can see these roots have been damaged in every one of these places. These are live oaks that are just slightly less than grand size. They're not on Related's property, but their vehicles park on them. And they've already damaged the roots of those trees. This is from a nail gun. This is the kind of debris they had. And the tree itself, they already put a regular curb here that was there when I went there in June, and they said, oh, they weren't supposed to do that. Well, they did it, and it might have damaged the tree. Now they say, oh, well, we'll pull it up and we'll do the floating curb. Well, did this do any damage? I also just want to say real quick that in the original rezoning, they said they would save 2 grand oaks, and they bulldozed every other oak, which is 32. The second rezoning, they said, you know what, we only want to save 1, and they bulldozed 20 more oaks. So on that entire piece of property, there's 1 grand oak, and that's it. 51 large, healthy oaks were bulldozed by Related on that property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Next speaker.
Hello, Council.
Good morning.
I'm Bob Whitmore, the Executive Director of City Tree. Throughout the world, large individual trees with a unique value to the community are known as heritage trees. The spectacular grand oak you will be discussing in Council today, standing at Bayshore in Santiago, is just such a tree. A heritage tree that should never have been put in jeopardy, but now stands once again threatened. The Ritz-Carlton land grab represents one of the greatest ecological heists ever pulled off in this city and stands as a shameful example of the ability of developers to convince city leadership to put a company's profits before the good of the people. It started with the rezone of a waiver that would allow Related to remove 80% of the trees on this property instead of the already gut-wrenching 50%. As a result, as Carolyn said, 52 healthy medium to large type 1 trees, 30 of them live oaks, were bulldozed into oblivion, including a grand tree this developer has said would originally be retained. But it did not end there. They came back and asked for and received permission to remove more trees. And what was the final butcher's bill? 96% of the trees were wiped off the face of the earth, 4% short of a total clear cut. And what was left standing? 2 trees. A cabbage palm, which frankly I haven't looked to see if it's still there, and the tree you will be discussing today in item 5. This massive, magnificent, city-cooling, historic heritage tree, a rare tree in this warming city, left once again to fight for its survival. A tree that would no doubt have been doomed by construction if one woman who owned half of it hadn't had the courage to throw her body in front of the pavers. Item 5 should not be about what kind of sidewalk is less likely to kill a tree that has stood in this city 200 years before Teddy Roosevelt came to town. Item 5 starts with a simple, resolute request of Related by this council to cease all construction around this tree. It is then followed by a letter issued from the chair and spearheaded by you, Councilman Clendenin, who pledged to preserve the canopy, was a key pillar of the platform while campaigning for your seat. A letter that asks Related to abandon any construction of sidewalks or curbs that might in any way threaten this tree, regardless of any prior agreements or concessions. No sidewalks, no curbs, just clear ground around the sole survivor of a project that should have never been so devastating to the city's canopy. And if an agreement cannot begin here, today, a motion by this council should follow, invoking this city's right of eminent domain, reclaiming this property in which this tree stands, preserving and protecting this vital piece of historic infrastructure. This heritage tree that has fallen into the hands of men incapable of preserving it and seeing it only as something that's in the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Next speaker. Please state your name.
My name's Allison Date, and I'm here about the tree, too. I was really appalled about, let's see if I can find about the situation that exists about this tree and all of the things that you've just heard. Because I 3 years ago, it was one of my first tree activities that I did because the people who lived in that community were concerned about the loss of the trees. And it was called Bay Oaks for a reason, because there were all these oaks. So myself and another person went and measured all the trees, 30 of them, and we took pictures of them. And we looked at them and looked at the design, and we said, you could probably save these 7 trees. Could you, consider that? And that was my first experience with Related. They said, well, no, we can't. And it ended up that they got their, they were given the rezoning to, and as you know, they were able to get rid of all but 2 trees. They saved 2 trees. And then something happened after that, which I didn't know about, but they rezoned it when they got their when they bought some more land. And in that second rezoning, they were able to get rid of one more of those grand oak trees. And now I learned just the other day about this one beautiful tree that's left. It's really a magnificent tree. And it was one of the ones we wanted to save. That this developer who had plenty of space, and their site plan went before development, right, to look at. Why didn't they recognize that, and whatever they needed to do to move the street or the sidewalk, it was there before. So something changed that now there's not enough room for it. Why? It just puzzles me. And when I keep hearing from people in the government, oh yes, we really care about our trees, and then something like this happens, it makes me question it. And it also makes me question the developers when they say they are so concerned about things and then they do something like this. But this idea of having another having being able to do 2 of these rezonings. When that happens, it's like what happened before wasn't there. And so they ended up being able to not only get rid of those trees, but also 1 more. And the same thing happened in another incident that I was involved in with them that's over at the towers with the right-of-way trees. They were given 100% clearance to get rid of the trees, including the 5 right-of-way trees on Parker there. So we need those trees, and thank you very much for your help in saving them.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, next speaker.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Paula Meckley. I'm here to speak on item 5 as well. Please take into consideration the protection of this strand tree, the one on San Diego. A sidewalk is not currently there and can be placed on the other side of the street. It does not put somebody out too far to just switch to the other side of the street or go around the corner to Bay, which is where the crosswalk is, to go across Bay Shore anyway. So for safety reasons, you want to put people to the crosswalks anyway, right? We've lost so many oak trees in this neighborhood, and the loss of a grand tree being replaced by other species just doesn't have the same benefits. Oaks support more life than any other native tree. The tree's canopies and root systems are important to water filtration, helping rain percolate instead of running off, and purifies all that water in the process. Oak trees also sequester carbon and provide much needed shade. When grown in the proper conditions, these trees can survive for centuries, as this one already has. This neighborhood has lost so many trees in this project. It is not an outrageous request to ask that this one be protected. Do not put a sidewalk around the tree. A live oak can thrive for decades, providing shade, beauty, aesthetics, and value to a neighborhood. We are asking for a solution to protect this tree, and please waive the sidewalk requirements that were already approved for this tree. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, next speaker.
Good morning. My name's Paula Perry, and I'm also here to speak about item number 5. Regarding the potential hazard to the property in a Grand Oak, north side of San Diego that is adjacent to the related project. That is important because it's actually not part of their project. And Santiago belongs to Tampa, belongs to our community. And while they claim they want to improve it, the liberties that they are taking exceed their rights, I believe that. In October of 2020, because I realize this project was approved before several of you were serving on City Council, REZ 2038 was approved despite inconsistencies with some of the city staff findings and numerous waivers, which included a reduction of the required percentage of trees preserved for non-wooded lot from 50% to 20%. So right off the bat, they wanted to knock out 80% of the trees, even though the architect, Related's architect, and if you watch the video, you can find it, I watched them both, at point 4252 stated, we were looking to create a green enclave, those beautiful mature oak trees, and the possibility that gave us to create a green environment was what we were seeking. It kept the open space, and then he continues to discuss the design at 5359, and enough room for the branches of the oaks along Santiago. So the original intent was to keep with what City Council was sold on was they were going to keep those trees. Then they came back in September 8th of 22 with additional waivers, including 2 waivers for trees to reduce the tree canopy to 4%, but that did not include a grand oak that 33 inches that they were taking out. So the point is that they are intending to use this property to promote it, to sell it to residents, to sell it to the neighbors. They have not done that. They're not keeping their word. There's a difference between following the rules and keeping your word. People break their word, their bond. You don't trust them. But this is about following the rules. Is it a requirement of City Council that we have the sidewalk? No. City Council did not require a sidewalk on the north side of it. This was part of Related's plan, and Tyler Hudson states this at 351 in the second hearing. The buffering waiver, the reduction of 15-foot setbacks to 7 feet. If Related complied with the full 15-foot setback waiver, it would severely interrupt what we, Related, are trying to do with Santiago Street. I implore you to reclaim our street. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Tina Wyman. I'm going to place my phone down here. This is about a residence in District 2. I've placed so many phone calls, code enforcement, mayor's office, TPD, animal control. I've spoken to Tanya. The city did come out back in February, code enforcement, and cleaned up this person's property that lives next door to me. 3 dump trucks. March 31st, it started again. Feces in cups, excessive overgrowth, tarps on a 6-foot chain link fence
What street is this on?
on O'Cara Road. We live right across the street from Busch Gardens. We have a daycare beside us. It's so sore to the eye. And to deal with this, Busch Gardens, people come down our street to look at the roller coaster. Children walk on the sidewalk and there's feces flying flying on the sidewalk. Tarps, 20-foot hedges. I mean, this is a disgrace. And for our city to come out and clean this property, and it's going right back to where it was. I mean, what can we do? The city's been out there so much.
Councilman Vera.
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you, ma'am. What I was saying is that I could, after you're finished, I can meet you outside.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Good morning, Connie Burton. It was really a pleasure to be here this morning to hear from Dr. Clayton as we embarked on the 60th anniversary on the March of Washington. It is happening this weekend. And within that 60 years, since the work of such great pioneers to now, it should give us pause to examine not the picture perfect, way in which we see the city, but what improvement have we as a community and as leadership brought to the changes of the people's lives. So 60 years, we're marching for justice and jobs and housing and daycare and opportunities, and yet still today, we're dealing with some of those same barriers. One of the biggest barriers, as I continue to advocate, is here in East Tampa. That every time we think we're getting close to the goalpost of doing some major improvement, it becomes a pause. So for the last, the establishment of Belmont Heights, when people have just asked for some of the basics, and we have money within the CRA to do a massive housing rehab program. That's not rocket science. Right now, we have a sense of not belonging in our own community. When you have within inside of your community people on the right hand of you that's still working jobs that would give them the still needed a social assistance with houses being propped down in that community that's close to $500,000 or more. And right within the CRA, we have money to do massive home repair. And what we are getting is drippings of the city giving monies, small loans to nonprofits to build some remedial houses. That's not what we are asking for. We want those that come inside of the community have a sense of belonging, but we do not want to be pushed out. It is not enough for you to make acknowledgement of progress when you can't actually put your hands on it. We're also concerned, and I won't have time to sit through the whole presentation about the Jackson House, but that's been through 3 or 4 administrations. We have watched the depletion of that house just go down, 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 down. Lost parking, and it has been reduced almost to rubble. So that's the picture that we continue to get in our community as to the representation of what Black life means in this city. We're hoping that the city find a way to work and the blame is not laid at the footstep of a council person, but the city, with its good intentions and its resources, move to make this Black community whole once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir, please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, next. Come on up. State your name.
My name is Manaf Arak. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to practice one of the significant rights for us over here as an immigrant. My name is again Manaf Arak. I'm a business owner of a business that being served a nuisance a few months ago. They claim there's an activities on the property. Okay, the reason why I'm coming over here, because I thought my other party that claiming these things will be here in this listening over here. I'm not a good speaker, so I'm trying to make it as good as I can. I'm a business owner since 14 years over there, serving the community as much as I can and with the maximum capacity that I can. Your police law can testify what I'm doing. The code enforcement can testify what I'm doing. My role over there to serve my community and make it safe as much as I can, and the store open for the public as safe as I can. Otherwise, there's a community member of Jackson Heights Neighborhood Watch claiming that the store is driving violence to the neighborhood, which is it's out of the reality by the police records and the code enforcement records. Her part is to communicate with us after a meeting we addressed with one of your city council, and she's not communicating with us in order to see what we can do for to serve the community and to play a good role to enhance the area around me. I came over here just to tell you that it's hard for me to play that role by myself without help with others, and I'm seeking help with the law enforcement and the people around me to make that area better. But with that, members of that neighborhood watch is not communicating with us is going to make me hard. Excuse me. Make hard for me just to push forward what I'm doing in the area over here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next. State your name. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Council. Robin Lockett. Got a lot of stuff to talk about this morning. First, I am a proud alumni of Tampa Bay Tech. That school, you choose to go there. I mean, back in the day, it was a choice, right? Before school choice and everything. We had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, be at the bus stop at 6 o'clock in the morning. We sacrificed going to school with our neighborhood friends, but we gained family at that school because everybody, we displaced ourselves to try something different. And I am a proud alumni of it. I love to see where it's going. And go Tech, Tech, Tech. Say what? Two, I want to thank the City Council that has met with Florida Rising thus far. Gwen Henderson, Alan, we have to reschedule. I know I had a meeting. So we're rescheduling with Alan, Lynn Hertek, and Louis Vieira. And we have Guido. Guido, I had to reschedule with him also. So I'm shouting y'all out because I told you I would. Bill Carlson and Charlie Miranda. We don't bite. The office is welcoming, and we are affording an opportunity for you to see where we are and have a conversation with our members. So we don't bite. We want the same treatment that you provide to everybody else, that you go out and you go out and meet them. So I'm just putting that on the record. Yellow Jackets Little League. The young lady came in, was talking about Interbay. Yellow Jackets, that baseball field being displaced and moved has always bothered me. I think that city council back then, because you guys, I don't think you guys were, none of you were on city council, but back then, I think that the lies that they told Coach Wright had always bothered me. And he was a trusting man to believe that he was going to be made whole wherever they went, wherever they were placed. And that was a disservice for that baseball team. Historical baseball team, historical black baseball team. So when I hear Inter Bay being mistreated, which I was surprised, I was like, Inter Bay being mistreated? So that's a problem. The budget, the millage increase, I want city council, and I'll be back, to really think about what is needed. You're asking people to increase the rates, but you need to, there has to be a lot of transparency with that. Housing should be the center point of everything. Not police, not fire, housing, because that's the greatest issue. I'll speak more about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did she mention? Yeah, we were scheduled for September 6th. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good
Stephanie
morning.
Pointer. Let's talk about the budget. Let's start with, we had 3 Ps and an H. Let's talk about paving first. This is part of the mayor's PowerPoint presentation. $18 million a year was supposed to go into paving, but yet when I look at the nifty little PowerPoint, or the online stuff, we have 4.1 million. The CFO explained to me last night, after I asked this question during the budget meeting for the citizens budget review yesterday, that, oh, we have that money set aside, but we're gonna get grant money. Well, here's my question. Why haven't we gotten grant money for paving for the last 5 years when we've spent $5 million on it? That's the first question. So I need to know where that Santa Claus is gonna come and bring us the rest of it, because we have allocated for 4.1. That's a whole lot less. Where's the other 13.5 going? Staffing changes. This is a very interesting little dynamic here. And I'm sorry it's so small, but I don't make these things, and I'm not rich, and I don't have a secretary. So bottom line is that the budget shows that we're gonna have 24.72 increase in employees. Now, I don't know about y'all, but the presentation I saw said we're gonna get 30 police officers and 30 firemen. That's not there. And I understand that there's something about grants, and I understand that. But here's the thing. You want money out of my pocket, out of everybody's pocket in here, and this is not where it's supposed to be. If you want to tell me that you have 4 reasons for raising our taxes, then we should be able to see where every single penny of it goes. It needs to be laser focused on what you're telling us we're going to spend it on. I want to tell you a tale of 2 houses. These are both houses that belong to me. Okay? My husband and I. Okay, I want you to notice that one of them's $15.25 a month for rent, and the other one's for $18.75. Now, we all know that's cheap. Why? Because my tenants are good tenants, and I'm a good landlord, and I take care of my people. I go up $25 a year, whether I like it or not. Okay? That's not much, and I think everybody out here who's a renter will tell you it's not. But my insurance has went from about $1,200 a year to $1,300 a year. With this tax increase, I'm looking at paying over $8,000 in taxes and insurance alone on these properties. How am I supposed to keep affordable housing on board for these people? So bottom line is, I'm asking you, are we robbing Peter to pay Paul? Because I'm going to tell you I'm still going up $25 a month. But are the other landlords going to do it? And I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just throwing things out there that make me concerned. I do not want to pay $7 million to find a parking space. I am down here looking for parking spaces more often than most because I don't fit in the parking garage. And every single time I find a parking space all by myself without a $7 million app. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Shagret Doss. It's strange that, and I appreciate Sister Connie for bringing it up, that we're 2023, yet we feel like, or I feel like I'm in 1963. here in Tampa. And I'm glad you still have your houses because I can't say the same thing. But let me address a couple of things because something happened recently where some troopers descended on a black woman's house who was home on family medical leave. And I'm speaking specifically to Governor DeSantis and Miss Moody, who's actually from here. First of all, CRT was never taught in K through 12, so we need to stop telling that damn lie, okay? That's something that's taught in higher education. But if we're talking about education and versus indoctrination, I don't know who Christopher Columbus really was, or actually I do, but we don't talk about the Moors, do we? And there's a reason why the Black Madonna child exists, and it ain't for mockery's sake. Now, if we're going to talk about law and order, let's be consistent, because it's kind of strange to me that law and order and these things don't apply when the person, the criminal culprit, happens to be privileged, or white, or a judge, or a cop in the city of Tampa. It's kind of strange that they were all in here. I wish they had stayed for this. To this day, here we are. I still can't get information. I'm going to get it eventually. I'm not giving you all $10,000 for stuff that you should have gave me during Brady. That ain't going to happen. But I'm going to get the information. So what I'm here to say is also, I think everybody should take note, and I know I got the attorneys to my immediate left. You might want to check out Florida Statute 817.49, which is giving a false report when a crime did not take place. And that's the fake crime she was talking about. Yeah, it's a fake crime. I was accused of a fake crime because it didn't happen. I won. And candidly, I'm going to whip the city of Tampa again when I get you in federal court if anything is honest and above board. The fact that you all actually went and hired the guy who filed that false report again is insulting. And I'm sure that I'm not an anomaly except for the fact that I fought back by myself and won. And I'll win again. We have people in this city. Now we're going to say the county and the state, but people in this city. I got hearing officers who lie to get child support cases moved forward. That's not my issue today. I know it's a state issue. But how many brothers know that since our Attorney General said we got to stick to the statutes? Go look at 61.3. How many child support cases are pushed with no verified affidavit financially or a time-sharing agreement attached to it? That's not me. The law clearly states you have to do this, but it doesn't happen. And furthermore, to my esteemed governor, Africans didn't need colonizers to show us our greatness. The existence of civilization states that. And by the way, if you didn't know why the pyramids are in Africa, because you couldn't move them to Europe. Shout out to the University of Thomas Jefferson High School.
Thank you very much, sir.